How's it going, everyone?
Hey, guys.
Welcome to a very long overdue, once again, podcast.
Very overdue.
Yeah, well, life gets ahead of you, and it just wants to stay there until you're like, God, you just move aside. I've got things I want to do, not need to do. So we're back to do a part 2, finally, of our TV talk that we did several months ago.
A couple months ago, yeah.
Quite a few. Whether that be the case, we're here now, so I think we're just going to pick up exactly where we left off. The last thing that we talked about was Hemlock Grove. You were telling me a lot about its production value and how well and detailed they were.
Yes, very much so.
And, all praise goes to that. I can't wait to actually finally see it, which even after all these months, I still haven't. But before we get into House of Lies / Cards, which ironically have nearly the same title, you just have to specify which one's which. I actually have never heard of House of Lies any more than I know John Cheadle?
Don
Cheadle is in it, and that's about it. That's my disclaimer for it, at least.
Well, obviously this show has gotten a lot of critical acclaim, and it's gotten critical acclaim for for many years running. I've actually never seen it. I've heard very good things about it, and they have another season coming out, which gives me another opportunity to sink my teeth into it, even though I haven't gotten there yet. But I am very excited about it because I do love Don Cheadle. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I'm just really excited to see him because from what I understand, there's a lot of corporate greed and backstabbing and obviously lies.
Oh, wait, there's lies? What?
Yeah, who knew? So I'm excited to see how this show goes. I think maybe if I actually start watching it, we can do something a little bit more in depth with it. But
yeah, I mean, there's still something to talk about here because those type of shows like Mad Men. Now, I'm not dissing Mad Men for making this example, but it's one of those shows that you're not watching. Like, a lot of people hear about it. They hear that, it's gotten a lot of awards, it's got a lot of critical acclaim, but nobody's watching it. Like, the view count has been that much, but other than that, it still keeps getting a season after season because they're telling their story not only well, but it's just everything else really comes into play. So House of Lies feels like that. It's like one of those shows that you're just not watching, and you need to get on that shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll definitely start watching it. There's such a huge list of shows that I have to watch first.
I know for my sake, I have, that's another thing I forgot. I finally finished Deadwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a whole new podcast into itself.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of stuff going on in Deadwood.
I can see why your boyfriend likes it.
It's amazing.
It's amazing,
it was one of the best HBO shows ever. I'm still mad that they canceled it.
And they're probably not going to see, in the foreseeable future, not going to have any movies either. That's what they were planning on.
If they were going to do that, they would have done it 10 years ago when it was actually on TV?
Right. It's like Deadwood is dead.
Literally.
Yeah. I feel that it's probably one of the best Westerns ever created. In terms of TV show, I would definitely agree with you. The production value is really great. Mm-hmm. The story is good. Actually, everything kind of works together. They have a lot of really great writers. The cinematography works really well with it because you actually felt like you were there.
Yeah, it's not a pretty Gunsmoke or Bonanza.
No, it's not a spaghetti western. Or any of that kind.
Spaghetti westerns were Clint Eastwood's Italians and stuff.
Yeah, but we're accustomed to those now.
So those are pretty and clean. They're not necessarily dirty and gritty. Mm-hmm. The cinematography is brilliant, and the actual production team, I don't know how they did it because
there's just so much care went into it.
It really is. Every single detail, no one is clean. Mm-hmm. No one is pristine.
Literally and mentally.
Yeah, no one... You could tell that these people probably take baths, maybe 3-4 times a year. Maybe.
Maybe. Have you seen the water they had to use?
Yeah, so I was like, but, and then you have an amazing cast. You have Timothy Olyphant, Ian McShane.
I love Ian McShane. If there was ever a love for a man that you knew about up until this point, when you see it with him, you just would admire him after this.
And then, oh my God, what's his name? Hawks. Is it Jason? Jason Hawks? I feel like it's Jason Hawks.
I have to see a face.
Oh my God, my phone is gonna die, and I'm not sure.
You're gonna die if you don't know this.
I pretty much. You have no idea.
Well, what character did he play? What was it?
He was the Jew.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He was in Identity, that psychological movie with John Cusack and Rebecca De Mornay.
Oh, I didn't ever see that.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. I know who exactly. And he was best friends with the former sheriff, Timothy Olyphant. Why do names escape me so badly? I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah. So
Seth Bullock. There we go.
Was he?
Yeah, Seth Bullock was Timothy Olyphant's character.
Oh, I know that, but I was like, that's not the Jew. What are you talking about?
No. I was talking about what I was, speaking in reference towards of who the actor who we're talking about is friends with.
Then you have Brad Dourif, John Hawkes. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Brad Dourif is the Doc. I love Brad Dourif. He was so awesome in that show.
He's just awesome at everything, I feel.
He plays creepy very well, as well.
But
and when he's in like Criminal Minds and stuff like that, you're like, dude, you sell it way too well.
I don't know. I just thought Deadwood was really good, but
yeah.
Let's get back on track.
Of course.
We can always do another podcast of Deadwood, and I don't know, maybe if enough people actually listen and buy Deadwood, maybe they'll do a reunion special. Who knows?
Wishful thinking. Fingers crossed.
I know, right? Then there's House of Cards.
Which, crucify me if you want, I can't get into it.
Really?
Not yet. I mean,
What is it about it that you can't get into?
It's politics, and I'm not a big fan of politics. Like, this is pure politics at its best. And I just have to be in the mindset for it.
But you watch Game of Thrones.
That's a fantasy type politics that, everyone's scheming. There are things that happen, and like where I'm at, like I think I saw the first 2 episodes of House of Cards, and nothing's happening yet. But I'm not saying nothing hasn't happened. Everyone's getting ready to make their move. Game of Thrones, I guess it's a different kind of politics to my eyes.
But then you also watch Deadwood, which is nothing but politics.
Deadwood itself, I did not say it's amazing, but I didn't say I couldn't always fully follow it. There was so many things going on. I'm like, wait, that person's that person. He's doing this. They're talking about somebody I've never met yet. Okay, I need to rewatch this. It may sound crazy, and I know it sounds very, stupid for me to say I can't get into it. I'm not saying I won't. It just takes a few rewatchings for me to finally catch the thread of what's truly going on.
Well, I think House of Cards is brilliant.
Have you seen all of 3 seasons?
I have. There is not a moment where some serious stuff is going on. Kevin Spacey, let me just tell you, I've always thought he was an extremely underrated actor. I don't think that he ever got the acclaim that he deserved. I mean, he's in Seven with Brad Pitt, and he plays John Doe. And then he's in, oh my God, what's that movie?
What's in the box? Sorry.
God, don't.
Sorry.
I farting hate that movie.
I wasn't going to say anything, but...
Well, no. I hate Gwyneth Paltrow.
For the record.
No, I hate her as an actress. I hate her as a person. Like, I just physically cannot stomach her. So, huge spoilers if you haven't seen it. She gets her head cut off. That was the only moment in which I was like, finally, something awesome for Gwyneth Paltrow. Brad Pitt is just kind of like, why are you even in this movie? Like, Brad Pitt is not that great of an actor. Like, I don't even understand why people have held on to Brad Pitt for as long as they have.
I don't have a problem with him.
He's not that cute. Everyone acts like he is so, like, this Adonis. I'm sorry, he is not. Especially recently. Have you seen him recently? If it weren't for him being married to Angelina Jolie and wearing an Armani suit, he would look like a bum on the street.
You know, the long hair, you know, got
the
really...
long beard, like, just for men. Hello. Just for men. You need to color that in. I know that most people, I tell them, like, accept your grays. No, Brad Pitt.
No, stop it.
No, because you look horrible.
I'm only trying to speak your mind. You can speak it for yourself, honestly, but... Dude, It's okay. Let's move on. Let's go.
I just can't.
I know.
So then, I think it was The Usual Suspects, I think.
Which I've never seen.
Which is brilliant. You should.
Of course.
Douglas, get on it.
You get mad at me for everything, so what do you want from me?
Because there's so many amazing...
I'm sorry I was watching Deadwood for the last month.
Dude, it hasn't even been a month and we've gotten through 7 seasons of X-Files, so that's not...
Oh, I didn't
not
know
an excuse.
that. I didn't know that, so...
Yeah.
Fine, put me on the spot.
7 seasons of X-Files, so...
I can't be Sarah Brown.
That's no excuse as to why you can't watch TV. I'm sorry.
I'm watching TV on my own accord. I got you.
So then there's The Usual Suspects. And oh my god. When I first saw The Usual Suspects, I definitely did not see the ending coming. And I know that Matt, you know, my boyfriend said that he saw it coming, and I'm like, bull. There's no way you saw that coming.
You can have a feeling.
Yeah.
Then you just kind of deny it. You're like, nah.
I'm like, bull, you did not see that coming. You are a liar. There is no way. And then, of course, one of the best movies ever created, American Beauty.
Okay, now we can finally come onto something that we can agree upon. American Beauty was amazing.
It's amazing. So, like, the fact that Kevin Spacey has not gotten the acclaim that he deserves really kills me. Well,
I feel like maybe this is a really good open door for Kevin Spacey because he does sell it really well. If there's anything that I would watch that show for, it's him. Because not only his breaking the fourth wall and the show itself, telling you what's going on, how he's doing it and stuff... I love stuff like that. Sometimes you do have to kind of talk down to me a little bit and say this, but he's not even talking down to you. He's telling you exactly what you want to know, how you need to know it, and then they move forward. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I love that. I absolutely do. The narrative is amazing.
I just think it's beautifully written. It is very... I mean, the whole thing is political, but I feel like people... Especially, I can only talk about America with 100% certainty. I could talk about other places, but we'll stick with America. I don't think people know enough about politics and how things are done and the way bills are created and the way laws are passed and the channels that you have to go through in order to make something happen or to make something not happen. I think it's actually very informative. You actually learn a lot about the American political system and the amount of corruption that's in there. And I just think that a lot of people take that for granted.
It sheds some light on what's really going on. And maybe it doesn't put it on a good mark or a bad mark, but it's saying this is how it is.
Yeah, and I don't think that enough people pay attention to politics. They want to argue about a flag instead of what's really going on in the country. we've got more prison systems than we do colleges. We have people that are clearly exhibiting mental health issues that are gaining access to firearms and going crazy. But we want to regulate guns instead of dealing with mental health issues.
Which, simply put, not cool.
Exactly. So I think, oh my God, phone, shut up. I don't care.
Her phone's dying. But.
Yeah, my phone's dying and it's just being a butthole. So I think that this kind of breaks it down. Like, even in the first couple episodes, they talk about this, the new president that has just come in and the platform that he's going to talk about. And, well, he can't talk about this because it's controversial, and he can't talk about this because that didn't work the last time. So he's got to talk about education. But then he's got to go through the unions, and he's got to go through, the different caucus and all this other type of stuff. So much red tape, and I'm like, yeah,
this is why things don't get done.
This is why nothing gets done.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is exactly why we can't have nice things.
Well, I imagine, it's like setting yourself a clear goal of A, B, and C. Well, it's easy when you start from A, you know where B is, and you need to get to it, and then you know the overall result is C. Well, guess what happens? You get to A, you try to get to B, then you get to 1.5. You're like, wait, I didn't need to go here. Oh, yes, I do, because this needs to happen. Oh, I need to go A point Z dash Apple 4.3.
Yes.
And then finally you get to B.
Nice Doctor Who and slipping in there like that.
It really, you understood that reference.
Yes.
But, I feel that's exactly how it is. It's never as clear-cut as you may think. And, I loved in the first episode, he's talking to Robin Wright Penn's character, and he's like, we're going to have plenty of nights like this. Late at night, we're mad at each other, but this is what we got to do. And I was like, I like how forward not only is with us as the audience, but with the characters around him. And to be honest, even though it's politics and I'm not a big fan, the reason why I can watch Game of Thrones is because after much deliberation, I had to rewatch it the same way I'd have to do House of Cards. Mm-hmm. I just have to pick it up and watch it, and I will, because the more I talk about it, the more I have a sense of appreciation for it, because you hype it up well enough for me to go, yeah, I really do want to do another third glance at this or fourth glance. That's how I roll. And this is what I like to do. And, once in a while I may not get things. I can be rather, not okay upstairs. But, eventually I come around. But Well,
I definitely hope that you give House of Cards a glance, because it definitely is worth it. Mm-hmm. You really do become invested in these characters, and there's a lot of intrigue. There's so many different personalities, and everyone's working towards their own goal.
A lot like Game of Thrones.
A lot like Game of Thrones, which is why I'm saying, you love Game of Thrones. How can you not like House of Cards?
Right.
Well, it is kind of a game of cards, because you got to put your chips on the table.
Lots of games going on.
A lot of games. So that's why I was like, wait, you love Game of Thrones, how can you not like House of Cards?
It's not like I'm not actively avoiding it. It's not like I don't like it and give you some random mumbo jumbo of why I don't. No, I want to get into it. No excuses. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I would definitely take another look at it.
Absolutely. Moving forward?
Moving forward.
We've got Marco Polo.
Marco Polo.
Here we go.
I like, yet hate Marco Polo.
You do?
I do.
It's to say I haven't watched it. I know my dad has watched it. Moderately interested. It's this historical piece.
It is.
She's getting up to move. So.
No, you could keep talking. I'm just bringing a soda over.
That's fine. That's cool.
Do you want a soda?
Yes, please. This is how we roll.
It is. Would you like cream soda or something else?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Cream soda is the shit.
It is. It truly is.
But
no. So Marco Polo in itself, you are correct. It is a historical piece.
Yes. And that's a unique flavor into itself. I don't mind historical pieces. Obviously, I sat through Tudors.
Yes.
I love the Tudors.
Yes.
Best borrowing of TV shows ever.
Yes.
Marco Polo, though, it's at its point right now. When it comes to history, I think we only have the assumption of who Marco Polo is based off of one of two things. One being a historical figure, and also the game you play in the pool.
Okay, so Marco Polo, I like it, but I hate it. Let me tell you why.
Thank you.
So, the actual show is based off of his adventures to the East.
Okay.
So, Marco Polo travels a lot, basically to China and Mongolia, or what is now considered Mongolia and China. And he meets a lot of people along the way. There's a lot of, again, political intrigue. There's a lot of stuff just going on. Now, the one thing that I thought was really interesting, now this could very well be true, I'm not sure, because I don't know Marco Polo.
Right. Thank you.
I never met him, and I never will. He's been dead for a couple hundred years. Yeah, a couple hundred years. So, I will never get the opportunity to meet Marco Polo. So, what I thought was very interesting was the relationship that they create between him and his father. His mother dies when he's very, very young, and his father comes back like 14 or so years later.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, his dad comes home like 14 years later and is like, hey, what's up? It's kind of awkward.
If they play that awkwardness well, I'd love to see that.
It really is awkward. And then his dad goes, yeah, so I'd love to chill and stay, but I have to go back out traveling because his father is a merchant. So Marco's like, WTF, man? Like,
simply put. Like, hey, yo, dude. It's like, actually, they didn't talk like that back then, but I totally get what you're saying. It's just, why? I'm thinking about when the mom just kind of shows up. Things like that happen all the time, even today. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how well they would actually have handled that back then, as we handle it now, as a really severe personal insult to ourselves as a person, you know, when it comes to family. It depends on how in tune you are with family.
Well, personally, Marco was apparently very close to his mother because his father was a merchant. He was going out and selling his wares and exchanging goods and doing whatever.
Right.
So there's already that strained relationship between the two of them.
So why did you leave? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, he went to try to make a better life for himself and his family. It just ended up going in the crapper when his mother died. So then his father says, listen, I'm going back out. Like, I'm not staying. So Marco hides in the caravan and just decides to go on this journey. And one thing I really like excuse me, about Marco Polo. Sorry, guys, I'm getting over a cold, so please bear with me. Mm-hmm. I'm doing the best I can right now. One thing that I really do like about Marco Polo is they don't make the Mongolians look like straight up barbarians. They don't.
I guess it's a fine line you have to cross in order to get that look and feel and the accuracy right.
Well, and I didn't know that I was pronouncing this wrong. They call him Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Yeah, I didn't know that it was not Genghis.
I didn't either, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, crap. I've been sounding like an ignorant fool my entire life.
Yeah, we're not cultured, man. Well, now we are.
I was like, well, we's from America, so no one else expects anything else of us. So, but
hey, no, touche. Gotcha.
But typically when you think of the Mongolians, you think of just straight up barbaric. They just want to take over everything. And I'm not saying that attitude is not present, because it definitely is. But
it's not the only thing focused upon.
It's not the only thing. So the fact when Marco actually shows up in front of the Khan, who is the leader, who is actually very well acted. God, of course my phone's dead. For the life of me, I cannot remember who plays him. However...
And who are we talking about?
The Khan.
Okay. I'll look it up for you.
I think he's Kabul Khan.
Okay.
So Doug's going to look that up for me. But he's actually very well acted. His character is very well thought out. And of course, what happens, and this is one thing that I actually hate in stories, or in TV shows, you've got the son, the Khan's son, who sees that, the Khan is old. Well, not old, but he's middle-aged.
She's looking at the images now.
Oh! Kublai Khan. He makes me so happy. I didn't know his name was Benedict. Benedict Wong. That is so cool. His name's Benedict.
It's the little things that fascinate us.
Dude, it really is. And he's English.
Mind blown.
Dude, he's an English Asian. That makes me so happy on a level I can't even explain.
I really liked him, and he had a very small role. It's just the little things that excite me. But he was in Sunshine with Cillian Murphy, and he played like the... He was a scientist, of course, but he was the one that directed the ship to the sun. And he was... he went through a lot of emotional turmoils in that movie. But I really liked his performance in that. I haven't really seen him much in anything else except... Oh, he was in Prometheus. That was a small role. Didn't see that coming. But yeah, anyway, I know who you're talking about.
Yes. So, very, very well acted. I don't know. I don't like Marco.
You don't like his character?
I don't like his character. I don't like the guy who plays him.
Oh.
Don't even look it up. It's not worth it.
All right.
That's how strongly I feel about it. And everyone who listens to our podcast knows that I am always on my phone double checking my ish.
But it's just you don't like this actor. You don't like this guy, Marco Polo himself.
No.
You just can't follow him. You wish you were following somebody else.
Yeah, I really do. I really wish that this show was about somebody else.
Like Kublai, for example. Maybe.
I think that would be amazing. His rise to becoming Khan, I think that would be amazing.
Because, he was following Genghis Khan's footsteps. They were related.
Yes, that was his grandfather.
Right.
I don't know.
It's okay that you don't like him, but I'd like to know why.
Well, that's why I'm trying to put into words. It's not that he's a bad actor, because he's not. When I think Marco Polo, I think of someone like really, really tall, dark, handsome Italian. Okay. And because it's the 1300s, he probably has really puffy shoulders. Like, costume-wise. And I don't know. Maybe I thought him looking more of like a traditional like poof. Like very pomp and circumstance and glitter and gold.
Hoity-toity.
Yeah, but he's just kind of dirty. And grungy.
It just kind of goes along with what... There's your mindset, and then there's the...
It takes away from my idea of Marco Polo. Not that that's a bad thing. But
it does affect your viewership on this.
It does. He also just... I don't like his accent. It doesn't sound particularly Italian to me.
Even if it was a light Italian accent, it's like, no, there's no light Italian accent. You either go broke or you go home.
Yeah, and it's not like I've actually heard Italian people. Like I have, even though I'm practically albino, I do have Italian people in my family. And I've heard that accent, and I'm like, this is not Italian. Like, I don't...
So the authenticity of it is just not remarkable for you.
I just don't like Marco's character.
There's a lot of... Okay, when it comes to characters, I totally understand. Like, it's... All right, screw it. We'll go for Game of Thrones. Crap, names always escape me, but Joffrey Baratheon. The actor who plays him, he's probably... I heard that he's an absolute sweetheart, but the way he played Joffrey, unredeemable, the nastiest little thing you would ever come across, not that you'd ever want to come across him. He played it so well, but because of the caliber that this actor put forth in the character, it didn't make us hate the actor so much as the character. Now, there are a lot of elements when you're creating a character. That shit's hard work. So what I'm trying to say is that this actor who's playing Marco Polo, he's not hitting all the right elements for you. The accent, the looks, the feel of his character, his outlook in the situation that he's in, or the situation in general that defines him. Nothing... It's like a roller coaster of emotions. Like, you did something redeemable there, but it's you. I don't like you. And it goes up and down and all around and side to side. And I completely understand.
Yeah.
So... There's nothing else to say about that fact. This guy, for you, is just not working for you.
He's just not. But I really like Kublai Khan. He's so great. No, he's so great. He's so great. And then...
And to find out that he's English,
makes
Asian,
it even better.
It just makes it even better.
Like, he's an English Asian.
Awesome! You're multicultural!
That's so cool. It's like hitting a jackpot. Mm-hmm. Like, you play the slot machine, it's like...
Found some talent.
Like, raised in England, Asian, really great actor. Boom! You hit the jackpot. Mm-hmm. I also feel that way when there's, like, a black English person.
Selma,
Or, like, Idris Elba.
Yes!
Sexy as hell, really talented, you're English, and you're black. Like, oh my god! You hit the genetic jackpot.
Makes you just want to clap in giddiness.
Like, oh my god! Oh my god!
That's good.
It's amazing.
It's very good.
Yeah. Mm. That's a whole An Idris Elba appreciation podcast, like...
4 hours long. Remember what we were talking about?
I need to calm down. I need to...
Fan thyself.
Man, that man is sexy as hell.
Bucket of water.
I need a couple cold showers. I'm just saying. Damn. Anyways, moving on.
Did you hear about Luther?
I did.
They're coming out with a movie.
I did.
That makes me happy.
It does. It makes me very happy. But
we can tackle that. That's not a problem. I don't mind that so much because I loved Luther. I'm so glad you introduced me to that.
You're welcome.
Well, you're the best. So I'm only friends with the best.
This is true. So, moving on with Marco Polo, I think the overall story is okay. Mm-hmm. The Khan does have a son, and what I do like about the Khan himself is that he's very open and tolerant of other religions. Like, he wants to know why Marco's Christian God is so important to him. Like, what are the philosophies that make his really Christian God so important to him?
Morally fascinating.
Yeah. And he enjoys different philosophies, and he enjoys learning and thinking of different things and different ways to do things. His son, however, is half Mongol, half Chinese. So a lot of people don't think that he should be the next ruler, but he's Kublai's son, so he kind of has to.
Right. There's a legitimate claim for him being who he is.
Yes.
But the controversy never stops.
No. And so when the Khan starts spending more time with Marco, of course, I freaking hate when they do this. The son gets super pissy and jealous and does everything that he can to go against Marco. And I'm like, you know.
Is there any other confliction to make that kind of thing
Like,
happen without that plot element?
Thank you. Can we, like, move away from that plot element? Like, I'm so over it.
It happens all the time. I get that.
Like,
I don't want to see it in a show.
I get the jealousy. I really do get the jealousy, because why would this guy be spending more time with a foreigner than with his own child? I get that. But why are you such a freaking brat? Like,
psychologically, no.
You're half Mongol, you're half Chinese. This is some dumb foreigner. Like,
he's got no power over you. Just chill out.
Exactly. And just because he has different ways of looking at things, obviously the Khan himself values this man's opinion. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter that Marco hasn't been around that long. If your leader values the opinion of this one person,
perhaps maybe he's speaking some truth.
Maybe you should take heed of that instead of trying to get him killed.
Right. Well, at least at this part, I think, do they address it at all? Do they, like, does this little brat actually say, look, I don't get why you're finding his opinion more valuable?
Kind of, but he does it in a really pissy, wimpy way. And
God.
The way they kind of do it, he kind of looks like a 3-year-old stamping his foot going, I don't know why you like him more than me. That's mean. I'm telling my mommy. Like, shut up. Shut up. You were a grown man with 2 wives. Shut up. Ooh. Yeah, they have multiple wives. In fact, the Khan has his own little harem. And I'm like, okay. That's cool.
Oh, boy.
I also feel like one thing that bothers me is that they have sex in this show for the sake of sex. Like,
is that another thing that bothers you? Because that's
well,
because that happens all the time. But even in like Game of Thrones, sometimes it's distasteful. You're like, you just putting that in there for the sake. Kind
of, but it's kind of okay. Like, I'll use Deadwood since we just talked about it. Mm-hmm. In Deadwood, there is so much cursing.
Oh yeah. It's beautiful.
It's to the point where
Swear Engine is kind of appropriate for his name and also personality because he swears like an engine.
Yeah. Well, I really don't want to get a mature content thing on this, but maybe we'll put a spoiler ahead of this or whatever. If I hear cocksucker one more time, I'm going to have a problem.
Especially woo. Cocksucker! Like, oh. Sorry, I just said it, and you probably want to strangle me.
No. No, you're fine. But when every other word is that.
Right.
Or the F word, or, God, and I really hate this word.
The C word.
Yes.
You don't have to say it.
Thank you, because I was like, I really want to say it. Every other word is one of these words.
Right.
I can't. I really can't. I know that HBO, Netflix, Cinemax, Showtime, Stars, you have to have subscriptions mm-hmm. To actually watch shows on these networks. And because they're privately and independently funded, they can get away with a lot of other things that primetime cable can't get away with. But primetime cable is getting pretty racy.
It's getting pretty
ballsy.
Very ballsy. Very ballsy. I mean, Walking Dead has been pushing that bar.
Yeah, but you also have to have like a cable for that. I'm talking about like basic cable, like 4, 5, 7, 9.
Okay.
Because yes, I do agree with you that Walking Dead is pushing that, but I'm talking like your basic cable shows.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of other shows. I mean, Walking Dead wasn't the only example I mm-hmm. wanted to give.
But they have a show called Mistresses.
Okay.
It's literally called Mistresses. Why do you think it's called Mistresses? Everybody is screwing each other, and everybody is, like, sleeping with everybody else, and, oh, you just don't understand the show. No.
You do understand the show.
I understand the show. I have a problem with that. But
it's because you. Oh, I like that.
that's a whole nother kettle of fish.
We can do a censorship and viewership kind of podcast.
High five! I'm all about it.
I may not be well versed. You're smarter than me in that regard because you do some research. You actually figure that kind of stuff out. I'm receptive in that way of when you tell me, I'll believe you, and I will like latch on to certain things and try to break it down so I understand. Absolutely, but just know that I am not.
You're good.
Hugely into that stuff because it already bothers me. And anything that bothers me is like a paradox. I don't look at it. I don't touch it.
No,
I know it's there, but don't make me look at it.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
So I just don't like sex for the sake of it, and I feel like that's what a lot of this is. So Marco Polo is very hit and miss. Like one episode is really good, and then like you'll have two that are like really bad. But please, let's move forward.
It's fine. It seems that's working you up. Except for Idris Elba, I think everything else is really pissing you off.
Pretty much.
Did I just balance it?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, all right. So the next one, speaking of sex.
Masters of Sex. I've actually never seen it. But they have season 3 coming out, which, like I said before, gives me another opportunity to sink my teeth into it.
Absolutely.
We have such a huge list of shows.
We don't have to really cover Masters of Sex. If you have not seen it, and neither have I, just know that you'd love to see it.
Exactly.
I would too.
I hear that it's got a lot of critical acclaim, and I do like Michael Sheen. So I have very high hopes for it. Mm-hmm. Just like when, in our first piece, like in our first half of this, we were talking about the Astronaut Wives Club. Mm-hmm. I have the book. I have not read the book yet. Mm-hmm. You were actually with me when I bought the book. I haven't read it yet. I'm getting there. Oh my God. I have so many TV shows, so many movies, so many books to read. I'm working on it.
I know.
Because after X-Files, I'm actually catching up on Supernatural. So.
Oh God.
I know, and I need to go from season 7 to season 10. So I have like 3 whole seasons to catch up on, and I'm having heart palpitations. I'm like, how am I going to do this?
Can't do this. I need a minute.
Pretty much, I'm going to have to like stay up for like 3 days straight.
I don't think work would allow that. You need to drive.
Oh, I know.
Sleep deprivation ain't a good mix.
Pretty much. But, that just because I haven't experienced it, like with Masters of Sex, like I've never seen it, but I've heard really great things about it. Some of the actors in it are just really top notch. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually really excited to see where they go with it. I actually have a lot of friends who've watched it who said that it's really great. Like I said, I've heard great things about it, so I'm really excited to get my own opinion of it.
Right, and I think if it is strong enough to talk about, I would not mind dedicating the whole series thus far in a single podcast anyway, because
absolutely.
I feel like a show, either if it's seasons that don't have a lot in it, but it's worth talking about, we talk about the whole thing as it is.
Well, I definitely think we should just pick a show that either neither one of us have seen or haven't watched the whole thing yet, and then we should just do a whole podcast on it.
Absolutely. Who's the other actress that plays alongside with Michael Sheen?
I can see her face.
I can see her face, too.
I can't remember.
I got his name wrong, too. Good God, I
know who you're talking about.
It's Michael Sheen. Michael Sheen, yeah. She was in Mean Girls. She was...
It's not Lacey Chabert, is it?
No. Okay, that's it. I'm looking at
it. Oh, no. You're talking about, what's her face? The grungy chick. I know who you're talking about.
Grungy chick.
She is... I can count the amount of times on one hand that I've seen Mean Girls. Because it was cool, but I didn't think it was that amazing. Anyways, moving on before I start getting death threats. Orange is the New Black.
Ah, yes.
So,
if there's a show that I've heard about the most, it's this show.
I've actually watched 2 seasons of it now.
Really?
I've actually watched 2 seasons on it. I kept seeing it on my Netflix feed, and I was like, you know what? Screw it.
You do it.
I'm just gonna go ahead and start it. I don't like it.
Blasphemer. Lizzie Kaplan, by the way.
Lizzie Kaplan. Okay.
You don't like Orange is the New Black. You're now going to get death threats as we speak.
Now I'm going to get death threats. I don't like it. Funny enough, I was actually watching it with Matt, so that kind of made it awkward. But I just...
It's not clicking with you.
It's not. Now, that's not to say that I don't like certain characters, because I see a lot of greatness in this show. Excuse me. I feel like I would again, with Marco Polo, if this show was not about Piper Chapman, I would love it.
You know, funny enough, okay, for someone who hasn't seen that show, I hear the criticisms and the feedback and whatnot of the show, and my stepbrother, he's so funny. He was like, you know, even the characters feel like... Oh, the main character. Oh, you mean...
No. Which stepbrother?
Corbin.
Okay.
Corbin.
So I was like, wait, which stepbrother?
Right. It wasn't Lucas, Corbin. He watches Orange is the New Black, and he's like, even the characters want to know why she's at the forefront of all of this. Like, we, as the audience, are like, why are you the main character?
She's not... I don't like her at all.
And it's not to say anything about her performance, is it?
Yeah, because I think she's a terrible... I don't think she's a terrible actress. I think this is a terrible part
for her to play.
For her.
Okay.
Because I would love to see her in something else.
Just not this.
Just not this.
You feel that maybe it's not suiting her, the role that she's playing for the show that it is?
I feel like it's being really forced. Like, she's the good girl who had like this lesbian affair with this bad girl who was a heroin dealer, and she transported money in bags one time, and this whole legal scandal blew up, and now all of a sudden she's in prison, and she's like, oh my God, like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like she's trying way too hard to be the good girl. I don't know that...
You're not the only one, because not only Corbin has said that. Another friend of mine, she's like, I just don't care about her and, her want to be liked, or understood. Like, no. It doesn't fly with me. And that's what I've heard. Now, I'm not saying anything about that. A lot of people wish to be liked. You know me more than most, that I strive way too hard to, try to appeal to the better interest of others and stuff. But it's like...
And that's fine, but she's in prison. She's in prison. This isn't camp.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. At this point, it doesn't matter. She needs to adapt, and adapt quick.
Like, you are in prison. Mm-hmm. This is not summer camp, okay?
Yeah.
They don't give out awards for Miss Congeniality. This is prison.
They give awards by beating.
Like...
Well, maybe not. Sorry, excuse me.
No, you're good. This is prison. Like... Yeah. And I just don't like her. But...
Not to quote a movie you despise, but prison's no fairy tale world.
Very appropriate in this situation, so I will give you that one.
Okay.
Very appropriate.
For those who don't know, that's Shawshank Redemption.
But it was a very appropriate quote for the moment, so I will commend you on that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that does not mean that there aren't characters that I love, like Suzanne, a.k.a. Crazy Eyes. That's my girl! Like, she's crazy, but she is amazeballs.
Nice.
Like, she has acting talent out the wazoo. Like, she obviously, she has anger issues, and she has mental health issues.
She one of the black girls?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She's the one with the little beady...
Okay. Yeah. I've seen her.
Who's always, like, staring at people.
Like, really crazy, like...
That's why she's called Crazy Eyes. But... You know how... Have you ever seen a show Beyond Scared Straight?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
So they bring kids into prison and try to scare them.
Oh, no.
So there was an episode where they did that. They brought some girls in and they were trying to scare them. Crazy Eyes goes up to her and like has her hands in this girl's face and is like screaming at the top of her lungs. She's quoting Shakespeare. She is quoting Shakespeare to this girl. I was laughing hysterically. That made my whole life. I thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen.
A rose by any other name would smell just as sweet.
It was just so cool.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's very, very cool. There's a couple other characters that are just really, really, really interesting. Morello is really cool. Everyone goes by their last name.
Okay.
So
easy enough.
That's why I said Morello, because that's her last name.
Who is this actress? No, okay. Hey,
I don't know. I don't know everybody. I don't know every actress's name, but she's she's kind of got the Brooklyn, Jersey accent, and she's super cute. But she always talks about her wedding to her fiance, Christopher.
Almost sounds like Harley Quinn. Just,
And it's really funny because she actually just went on one date with Christopher, but then she just decided to stalk him.
Infatuated.
Yes, and she stalked him and broke into his house, and
oh my god,
like that, and that's why she's in prison. So, I mean, like you just. What I like is every single episode is kind of focused on a different person and their life before they went to jail, and 90% of the time they give you the backstory as to how they even got in jail. I just think it's, I don't know, I think it's great. I don't like Piper. I don't like her story. I don't like anything that has to do with her ex-fiance, because now they've broken up. And spoilers, her ex-fiance is now screwing her best friend, who left her husband for Piper's ex-fiance because her husband just checked out of fatherhood. It's stupid. I don't like it.
Don't care.
I love her brother, because her brother's just kind of like, yeah, man, let's hang out. I have a car that runs on vegetable oil. I live like miles away from society because I just don't like people. I think that's cool. I just think he's a cool character. Yeah. If Orange is the New Black were not about Piper Chapman, I would like it 50,000 times more.
I'm pretty sure. It's the other characters that really make it for me. Yeah, I would...
Especially Red. Red is actually played by Kate Mulgrew, who played Captain Janeway.
Voyager.
So that actually makes me really happy, because I'm like, yay, Captain Janeway!
Yeah, like, I'm on Tumblr ever so often, and I see a lot of, forgive me if I get the term wrong, GIFs, or GIFs, whatever. I know
what you're talking about.
I see a lot of those for Orange is the New Black and little situations that happen, and, like, one of them had, like, it had Kate just looking surprised at this group of ladies, and then like, you popped her boob or something, and I was like, that sounds hilarious, but all right, that makes me curious. What happened? That sort of thing. And just to look at her reaction like that, it's like, it's hard for me because I haven't seen her in anything else. I've only known her as, very stern Janeway.
And she's very stern Red, too.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I'm thinking of expecting something different. So, okay, well, cool. Matter of perspective.
Well, this is prison. This ain't no picnic. Okay, moving forward.
That's fine.
Not Orange is the New Black, not my favorite, but I will watch it because I really wish that they would just kill off Piper and talk about everybody else. But they can't because Piper is still alive in real life, so that dashes all my hopes. So, moving forward.
Not that you wish death on anyone.
Death, what? Mm-hmm. Moving forward, Orphan Black.
Have you seen it?
No.
I've heard stellar
I've heard
reviews.
amazing things about it.
Stellar. There's not really much more for me to go on. I know it's cloning. I know they do it well. I know the story is really deep, rich, and complex.
Well, I just feel like anybody who could play like the same person, but with the same show with different personalities, that's a ton. Sorry. Well, I've already said cocksucker, so a shit ton of talent.
I already said shit, so trying to keep it classy, but you know.
Well, I'm trying, but it's like I just got really excited for a minute.
You're allowed to get excited. You look at me like you love it when I get excited. I'm going like this, and you're just like smiling at me. So
so much talent to be able to play like a clone, but every single one has a different personality and stuff like that. That is so much talent, and I appreciate that.
Good stuff.
And I'm excited to see it. In the same vein as Orphan Black, but actually not on our list, is Black Mirror. I've heard a lot of things like it too.
I know, like this much. Very little.
From what I understand, it's kind of like an X-Files Twilight Zone, but British. I don't know.
From BBC?
I've heard... Huh?
From BBC?
Correct.
Okay.
I've heard really great things about it. I'm excited to see it myself.
Cool.
So that's two more. Actually, Matt's friend Tommy was watching it and was telling me all about it. I'm like, dude, you don't like anything. Except, like, the Phillies and the Eagles.
Say that again. You said you like something?
Exactly. I was like, you like the Phillies and the Eagles. Like, you don't like anything else. How do you like Black Mirror? But whatever. Doesn't matter.
Sometimes it just speaks to him in the right way.
Clearly. Again, moving forward...
Oh, okay, wait. We got to segue back into this because we started this actually in our last one. Outlander. This is the golden shrine for Sarah here.
I love
as golden
Outlander.
As your hair right now. So
I love Outlander.
I saw the season part 1 and I was like this close to getting it and
You
just
should
try.
have.
But it's like it's a part 1. I want the full season so I can.
Well,
watch
it comes out in
all.
it comes out in 2 parts because it actually was released in 2 parts.
Mm-hmm. I get you. Like Doctor Who did that too.
Yeah.
So I get you.
Just go ahead and get it because part 2 is going to come out, I think, in like a month or 2. I think.
So wouldn't have to wait long.
No.
I just
don't think so.
like it like that. You know,
I don't either. I feel like they'll change it maybe next season.
I'm hoping because it would just make me happy if I could have the whole season, just the whole season. And
I wish that they would do that. I
through.
wish that they would do that with TV shows, anyways. Like even if they release it in 2 parts, like just put the whole thing together.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's it. I know that they're making more money when they sell it in 2 parts, but you're already making money. Like, come on, really?
You know that we'll watch it one way
For
or
real,
another.
though.
And you know what? I don't want to get on this, but I have to for a moment. It's our word to mouth that promotes these shows. I understand it's all about money, but we're the ones that, regardless how we watch it, we will talk about it.
Exactly.
Not just us, everyone.
Exactly.
We hype this shit up all the time. You gotta stop doing these corporate decisions thinking no one's watching your shit.
Thank you.
Okay. I had my
So,
moment.
Outlander. I actually read the first book.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. I actually very much enjoyed it. I was not expecting what happened in that book to actually happen.
Now, do they follow the book for the TV show?
Almost exactly to the letter.
Like, okay.
Like pretty
okay.
much any other first season of a show.
Technically, True Blood, Game of Thrones, Dexter, Walking Dead followed its source material well enough in the first.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But moving forward,
I just want to listen to you go because if something's making you this passionate about a show, I love it. Anytime that happens, it means something that I can appreciate too because that usually happens anyway.
Well, I mean, okay, the music is done by Bear McCreary,
Mm-hmm.
who does Walking Dead,
Mm-hmm.
who also does Black Sails,
Mm-hmm.
who, didn't he do some Battlestar Galactica?
The whole thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly he is a musical genius. Like, he's got musical talent out the wazoo. The music is so ethereal, and it's just so... It's harsh when it needs to be, and it's pretty when it needs to be, and it just... I don't know how he does it, but it's like he dips a pen in some magical fairy pee and creates this stuff. Like, I just don't know. But it is amazing. And I need to know where he's getting that magical fairy pee. Because I need some in my life.
And considering in everywhere that he's been, on every medium, from space to zombie apocalypse to fantasy period pieces, honestly, I'm sure he got his hands on that magical fairy pea very quickly.
Yeah.
And very well, should I say, because he's been all over the place.
Pretty much. So...
he did a musical piece for when he obtained the fairy pea.
Yeah. So for anyone who is not familiar with Outlander, Outlander is actually the story of a woman who is living in 1940s Scotland. Well, she's actually English, but she's on her quote-unquote second honeymoon in Scotland in 1940s, right after World War II. And she and her husband, Frank, witness this ancient, I think it's Druid, kind of ritual. And Claire, that's her name, she actually... a little bit later on, gets transported back to Scotland in the 1700s.
Okay, that's a huge jump.
Huge jump. And she knows that she needs to get back home. She wants to get back home. But she ends up being taken in by the Scots, the Clan Mackenzie. Mm-hmm. And... different things ensue. The British want to take her back because she's English. She's very easily not Scottish. And so the British actually want to take her back to England. They think that she's a spy for the French. And
oh, love those misunderstandings turn conflicts.
Yeah, and then the Scottish think she's a spy for the English, but she ends up marrying a Scotsman, and... he's actually pretty cute. He's pretty cute. But then a lot of things ensue. I wish that I could break down every single episode. I really do. One of the things that I really appreciate is I appreciate the authenticity. The costuming is accurate. They actually don't make it a pretty place to be. They don't romanticize.
As it usually has been.
Yes. So it's actually, again, just like kind of Deadwood's, very gritty. You actually feel like you're there. I appreciate that. They do have a top-notch cast, and I think most of everyone will actually recognize some people.
I mean, and the lead female is not annoying either.
Yes. She's actually very, like, strong-willed. She has some moments where I'm just kind of like, are you freaking kidding me?
You know, I feel that it's for everybody, not just women, but guys too. We all have our vulnerable moments. It happens, but sometimes you just don't want to see it.
Yeah, so sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, are you for real? But then other times I'm like, yeah, stick it to the man. One thing, and this is probably going to be very uncomfortable to talk about. One thing that I've noticed about a lot of TV shows, the use of rape is used. And when it's used, it's basically used for plot and character development. But then it's never talked about ever again.
Oh, because the moment you do it, then you just have to pretend it never happened. Like, why'd you do it in the first place?
Pretty much. So, for example, Game of Thrones. Sansa gets raped by her husband, Ramsay Bolton, which is so sad because Ivan Brown is so cute. I know it makes me so sad because I'm like, no, I love you.
Did you see that musical mashup with everybody? And
No.
he was there with the guy who plays Theon Greyjoy, and they just have a moment staring at each other like, oh God, what's going to happen? And suddenly they're like, how's it going, buddy? And everyone's there.
They are like best friends, and I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
But in this show, it's actually very, 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 very controversial because it's actually male rape.
It's not that it's just very, very controversial.
It's very controversial because it almost never happens.
It's unheard of. Very much so.
Unless you're watching, like, Oz.
Well, then yes, because I was just thinking about that show, too. I've seen that show. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
That shit is insane.
It is. So, male rape, like, is just never heard of. So, Outlander actually touches on that topic. But what I like about it is that after it happens, like Game of Thrones, the attempted rape of Gilly. Mm-hmm. And then in the next scene that you see her in, she and Sam have sex. So it's kind of like, okay, he saved my life, so I'm just going to go have sex with him. But let's not touch on the topic that some of the people who were supposed to be his quote-unquote brothers almost tried to rape me.
Is there a thing where you can, like, let me report you?
Yeah, so, like,
maybe behead you?
Let's not talk about that subject. Let's not broach that subject. Let's just pretend it never happened and have sex with Sam. Sansa.
Never talked about it again after it happens.
Never talks about it again. She just is...
It's followed up by more tragedy where she puts her trust in Theon for a moment and then...
And he betrays her.
Right.
You know... Well, I don't like her character.
And see, okay.
But I'll tell you why. I have a very good reason. Because I feel like she just never learns.
I don't think that either. I don't think she does learn. However, she's trying to learn by season 5. But it's
not
just
enough.
It's just took from her the moment it happened. Suddenly she gets back into the political scheme of marriages, dealing with the emotional trauma. No, okay. People made a big deal about Sansa, and I feel like people were saying things just like you, just couldn't stand Sansa. There's so many people I know of that love this character and that character. I never heard once anyone say they love Sansa. Not once. Doesn't mean that she's not a likable character, but not everyone says, oh my God, she's the best.
Because she's just so weak.
Yes, and she's Women
are not weak. We are strong. I hate it. She has gone through so much stuff. But she just never learns from any of it. Like, get a backbone.
No. Simple as that, but I mean...
Tell Littlefinger, I ain't doing shit for you.
I ain't gonna be this political pawn in this.
And I'm sorry. Tyrion Lannister may not be the ideal husband.
But he was good to her.
He was good to her. He never let anything happen to her. He didn't force himself upon her like Ramsay Bolton. Oh, yeah, because that was a great match.
Yeah, because that needed to happen in terms of storyline and rape.
Absolutely. So Outlander actually talks about male rape, but instead of pretending like it never happened, he actually goes through, like, depression. He actually gets really, he's actually very traumatized. Like, he can't sleep in the dark. He doesn't ever want to be alone. Like, he can't smell certain things. He can't hear certain things. Like,
it's really messed up for
It's
him.
really messed up. And that's actually what happens to people when they are attacked that way.
Yeah.
So they actually take a very realistic approach as to how someone would actually handle that and how you would start to heal from that. And
you get very careful in who you keep close.
Yes, and not only that, like, how it affects his family, how it affects his wife, how it affects his friends, how it affects his community. Like, it's very realistic, and I actually commend the writers and actually Diana, the writer of Outlander, because it's actually in the book as well. I actually commend her for writing something that realistic, and that's something that no one ever wants to talk about.
Right, and in terms of things that no one ever wants to talk about, sometimes writers think that they know what they're doing. So I think what we're getting at here is, if you're gonna do it right.
Right.
If you're gonna tackle something as controversial from race, religion, politics, and sex, tackle it in a way where it just doesn't happen and then ignore. Don't make something happen right after to say, "Oh no, it was all better now. Don't worry." No. If you're gonna do it, take that time and have someone go through that emotional, traumatic, process.
Exactly.
And start healing, because I think that's what we all want to see. It doesn't matter if it takes a while for that to happen.
We want to see them be human.
We want to see them be human.
And when I say that about Game of Thrones, I'm not trying to say that George R.R. Martin does that, because he actually goes into every single aspect of his stories with a lot of detail.
So much detail.
That's why the books are so big, is because there's so much detail. So I'm actually not talking about George R.R. Martin. I'm actually talking about the show writers, the screenwriters.
Yeah, and okay, yes, I see that could happen and that could happen. Your heart was in the right place, but your mind was in the wrong side.
Yeah.
You don't want to just say, this happened, and again, I'm repeating myself.
And then she got over it.
And then she got over it. Like, no!
It doesn't happen. That doesn't happen that way. So, yeah, I'm not saying George R.R. Martin did that. So before people want to jump on me for that, I just wanted to
you're
disclaimer
a tough gal.
time.
Yeah, you're a tough guy. You got this.
Okay, so moving on from Outlander, because we're starting to get really, really long here.
Yeah.
Penny Dreadful.
We talked about that.
We talked about it. I like Penny Dreadful.
You said it gets to be a bit much, though.
It can be, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like they're trying to bring in a lot of characters at one time. And some now I'm not too far in the show either, so sometimes I don't actually get the connections to different characters. So I think I might have to watch it again to 100% get the connection between everybody. But
some shows are worth rewatching twice.
Yeah. So I'm actually excited, and then of course, like season 2, I'm excited to see the continuation of a lot of different plot lines and where they go with stuff. Okay. Moving forward, Sleepy Hollow.
Let's skip it. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care either. I'm not into Sleepy Hollow anymore. They've gone way out of their depth. I don't even know what they're doing anymore.
It's like it turned into a horror flick show to now. It's like turning a horror into a comedy. No,
I don't get it anymore. Walking Dead, super excited for Walking Dead.
Even with Fear, I was wondering about that the other day. When's Fear the Walking Dead coming out?
August.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So when Fear the Walking Dead ends is right before Walking Dead will begin.
And I've heard some little hints here and there for Walking Dead season 6, like war is coming. Yes. Stuff like that. Now, I don't know if they could top that prison raid, but I'd love to see what they can do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the prison raid was amazing, but I'm saying that stuff was intense.
For post-apocalyptic, that was pretty. Yeah.
That was insane.
Pretty much.
And so, okay, you know where I'm at with Walking Dead? I'm with them 100%. Season 3, not my favorite.
I hated season 3.
I mean, I'll have to get it a part of my collection, but
I own it. It's a part of my collection, but I'm just like, dude, I can't.
Want to.
Yeah, I really just don't have anything to do with it. I'm like, no.
It's like you're going through a line of candy. You're getting your Snickers, you're getting a Milky Way, and then suddenly you put in a Klondike. And you're like, wait, this is ice cream. It's too many different flavors that are chocolate. And I'm like, no. That didn't make any sense, but whatever. You get what I'm saying.
I get what you're trying to say. I didn't like season 3. I really wanted season 3 to end.
Yes, season 4, very well, much better.
Redeemed itself in a lot of ways.
It had a very cool opening. It just kept getting better and better and better. Yes. And in season 5, kept that, and I really liked it. So
there wasn't an episode in season 5 that I didn't like.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Maybe I felt that there was a lot more character study. In there. I feel like it could have been boring, but it really wasn't.
I feel like as we go on, it's less and less and less about actual zombies and more and more and more and more and more about actual people
that deal with a tragedy.
And I feel like that's one of the biggest criticisms that Walking Dead has, like, oh, there's hardly any zombies. Well,
Go back to season 1. There's plenty.
If you ask Robert Kirkman, like, it's not even really about zombies. The title of the comic does not. It's not even talking about the zombies. The Walking Dead is actually talking about the humans,
right?
The people, because all they're doing is waiting to die.
Yes, and that's exactly what I was always thinking throughout that show. But even in season 5, Rick Grimes was like, "We are the Walking Dead." Thank you for putting context.
I felt like
into
Peter
the title.
Griffin, and I was like, "Oh, they said the title. They said the title."
Yeah.
I had my Family Guy moment. I was like, "Oh, he said the title. He said the title."
It got me excited, though. You know, it's like he said the title, but it makes much more sense. Oh my god, it's really cool. I love that.
You know, so it isn't even really about zombies. Like,
it really isn't.
No, it's not. It's
Don't go in wanting some gore fest. Like, they do please the human condition, the psychological aspect, and then the grindhouse fans that they like to call it. There is a lot of heads bursting,
yes,
punching, stabbing, shooting, all that stuff. It's all there, but you can't sit there and go, "Where's it at? I'm bored." Like,
but you know what?
It's not your show.
There is a reason why Sci-Fi had Z Nation.
Mm-hmm. I vaguely remember that.
I watched like 2 episodes and I was like, "What is this?" It was horrible. But I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, this is so much better than Walking Dead." And I'm like, wow, you have no taste. Anyways, I think one of the reasons why Walking Dead consistently, had higher ratings than football on a Sunday, consistently for weeks on end was more popular to watch than football, is because you have a connection with these people. If you watch, we did a reaction post podcast for when Beth died.
That's our first podcast.
It was. I couldn't breathe.
It was traumatizing. But you know what's funny? The little hints that you get where, speculation who's going to be with who in that show ends up happening out in real life anyway. And it plays on your emotions so well, because that was like, I really wanted to know that. I really did. Like, I'm not big on finding celebrities dating, but this was the exception, because
Farrell,
Norman Reedus and
Emily Kinney.
Yeah, they're together in real life. And how awesome is that?
They're just so cute.
How awesome is that?
They're super cute. I don't...
You wanted to have it in the show,
yes,
but it's playing out in real life.
Which makes me even happier, because they'll have super cute babies. But, I'm just saying.
I don't disagree. I like that kind of sentiment.
I do too. But that's why they consistently have better ratings than football. Like, you grow with these characters.
And they allow you to grow.
Dude, when Beth died, I couldn't breathe. You saw me crying. Like, I couldn't breathe.
I know. Absolutely.
Like, I just wanted to curl up in a ball on the floor and just die. Like,
You know who else felt the same way?
Jess.
Yeah. She was like, I'm fucking pissed. Oh, excuse me. Technically, that was her words. She was like, "I'm done. Don't bother me right now." And I was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yes. Just go hang out with Sarah." And I was like, "Okay."
That was our first. I mean, that was our first podcast. But it was like, dude, I
can't handle it. That was way too abrupt, and like even some people found that negative in criticisms. They were like, they just did death for the sake of death, and they just took a beloved character from us that had no reason, no way of really dying like that, and suddenly it happens. Really? And naturally I would have felt that yes, you could have found it appeasing in the story, but even then I feel like Beth could have been living on right even to this moment. Mm-hmm. There was just really no reason for it. And it was emotionally traumatizing, because we all were wondering where she went when she wasn't, in the season for the first couple of episodes. You were like, what about Beth? Like,
well,
we actually care the more than we give out.
I'm sorry. Where was Maggie saying, "What happened to my sister?"
She already believed that she was dead. had she said, and I was like, you gave up.
You totally gave up. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving forward.
I'm just saying, when it comes to Walking Dead, I'm with it 100%. I'm just so curious in what they're going to do next, because we're at the point, and this is the point I wanted to finish.
Yes.
We're at the point in this comic where, like, the comics have been going on for some time. They're in a totally different place at this point, and we're just now hitting DC by season 5, I think. I can't remember.
Wait, aren't we in Virginia?
Virginia, yes. Alexandria, my birthplace.
Because it's like, wait a minute, aren't they in Virginia? They're not in DC yet.
They're in DC in the comics, but they're here in Alexandria, finally. And it's interesting, but I'm like, all right, so half the characters that were in the show are actually dead in the comics. Half the people that are alive right now have new character arcs. You don't know where it's going. I'm just curious what they have in mind. What story arcs are gonna happen?
Well, I think we'll be very interested to find out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're gonna get a lot of answers.
I really think so. And
stuff.
Godspeed to that show. I love that show so much. He hadn't said it at all in season 5.
I know. I was kind of like, wait,
why aren't you doing it? Do it again.
That's your catchphrase.
Well, I was so intensified by the prison raid and stuff. When he went Carl, I went. Sorry, this is supposed to be very serious, but I can't help
Carl!
it. Carl! Where are you? And I'm like, oh, this not supposed to be funny. Moving forward.
True Detective.
Oh boy.
Brilliant. But
the first season's brilliant.
But this one's, what is it, an anthology series?
So it's a brand new story.
So it's brand new story, brand new actors, brand new everything. If they bring on the same writers and the same team, we've got a gold mine on our hands.
Have you seen anything of the second season?
No.
I have.
I have not. I have not gotten there. Don't tell me anything. No, literally, don't tell me anything.
I'm not going to. I just want to say, though, slightly disappointing start, but it's slowly getting better. That's all I'll say.
Moving forward, Turn.
You seem to be into that more than me. Another period piece.
Well, I love period pieces.
It is actually a turn of a certain event that, not only just turncoats, I believe, but even in just history itself, this was the defining moment.
This is American Revolution at its best. This is aspiring revolutionary style. Mm-hmm. This is where it all begins. This is where America begins.
And Jamie Bell is...
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
I mean, I've only seen him in so many different things, but, I've
seen him in so many different things. He was actually... Oh, my God. What was that one movie with Zoe Saldana? Was it Zoe Saldana?
I don't know.
No. It was... Oh, my God. What's her name? Tandy Newton.
What was this?
I think it was Tandy Newton.
I really liked him in The Eagle.
I didn't really like the movie, but he was good in that. But this one was... Cillian Murphy was in it. It was a really weird movie. They were in the middle of nowhere. Jamie Bell had this disease or whatever. And it was like a whole bunch of government conspiracy type stuff. And they never left this cabin. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? But the whole movie was just so boring. Like, if Jamie Bell hadn't been in it, I would have been like, this...
Click.
Yeah, this movie blows. But I rented it for free at Blockbuster. That's how long ago that was.
You just had to mention an ancient relic.
Oh my God, that's how you could prove you're over 21. If you know what Blockbuster is.
Yeah, now people are like, yeah, I did it off Redbox.
Redbox, and it's like, oh.
I was in the old school days. I was around the period of VHS Blockbuster and DVD Blockbuster.
Yeah, man. I remember VHS Blockbuster.
Oh, God, the days.
That was the best, dude. I still have my Blockbuster membership card.
I don't think I ever really got one. We just had to look up by our account.
But yeah, So this is American Revolution at its finest. I love Jamie Bell. He was also a nymphomaniac, which I thought was really interesting. Because
I heard that was very interesting.
that movie is, well, actually, it's in 2 parts. It is very interesting. I don't really know how to describe it to you. Are you on IMDb?
I am looking at that movie for, whatever Jamie Bell was a part of.
Let me say.
He was in Snowpiercer, and I didn't even realize it, and I saw that movie. I forgot.
Retreat.
Whoa.
It was called Retreat.
Oh, okay.
It is Tandy Newton, Cillian Murphy, Jamie Bell. Okay. So I was like, I know it's one of them. It was Tandy Newton.
Okay.
Damn it. I should have remembered that. But, they have very similar cheekbones. But, moving forward.
I'm not judging.
Yeah, nymphomaniac is really weird.
Well, considering what it's about, yeah.
Moving forward, Vikings. Very good. Historically cool, especially since it's on the History Channel.
You said historically cool, not accurate.
For the most part it is, but, obviously they can't get the language 100% right, because, people didn't use, contractions, like your, aren't, doesn't.
Which is very hard to imagine without.
Yes. The other thing, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they're a little bit too clean.
So it's not, like, the way they look is not...
Yeah, I don't feel like...
dirty enough.
Yeah, I feel like they take baths more often. Maybe it's just me.
That was a time period where that didn't happen.
Maybe it did. I don't know. But I just feel like they're a little bit too clean cut sometimes. I'm like, okay.
Like, I have seen their beard styles, and I'm like, where do you have time to do this? That is so cool. That is an awesome looking beard, but damn.
Yeah.
I have not seen you once trim that thing up and make it look the way it is.
And that's the complete opposite of Black Sails, which is the next one I have on here.
Mm-hmm.
They are dirty as fuck. They are dirty and nasty and smelly. Yeah. And gross and smelly, and those ships look disgusting.
But you can't help but appreciate it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, for the record, I haven't seen Black Sails, but it's on my radar.
It's very good. Again, politics, pirate politics.
Family politics, Game of Thrones, pirate politics, Black Sails, politics,
House of Cards.
House of Cards. And they all have their different flavors, so you'll start to see why.
So, I just like Black Sails. Again, music is done by Bear McCreary, so it's very well done. I like the characters, because there's not one character that's solely a good guy, and there's not one character that's solely a bad guy.
Yeah, so that's not the defining moment for them. They have to adapt. They change as the situation happens.
Yeah.
And I can dig that. I might have said this plenty of times. Mm-hmm. But you said that it was kind of like the Game of Thrones only on the sea.
Kind of, yeah. Because there's a whole bunch of people vying for power. And it's just who's going to end up on top. And I like that idea.
Yeah, and when it comes to these TV shows, I think if we're going to top this off, the reason why we like them so much is sometimes when they do it right, we're so invested in it because it's about power.
Yeah.
And the power is just enthralling to us because we want to be like them in some respects in our own personal lives, and we see how they handled it, and we relate to that. Like, you know what? Maybe I can take that approach, as long as it's not killing anybody, of course. But it's kind of inspiring to see people of a different time period or at a different time dealing with something that relates to us in a way, and it just makes us go, you know what? I like you.
I agree.
So, I think we did good.
For an hour and a half, I think so.
Well, part twos are usually the biggest addition.
The most comprehensive.
Yeah, so this is it for now, especially on our TV lineup.
Woo-hoo!
So definitely, there was plenty of other shows that we had mentioned.
And there's so many more that we could mention.
Mm-hmm. But these were the up and comings, and even now in our time period that, a couple of months have passed, we did good. And there's even stuff that has come out in that list that, we'll have to talk about in the long run too.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Whoever is listening, and we will see you next time.
Sounds good. Bye.